So here we're going to look at two techniques to help correct problems with volume. So here in Audacity are two separate audio files on two separate tracks. In the first track, we can see there's a region of audio in the middle here, which is a lot quieter than the other areas of audio. We can tell that because the blue waveform is a lot smaller than the others. The second audio track, the whole waveform is generally smaller than the waveform in the first audio track, and it's subsequently a lot quieter. And we're going to look at two techniques of how to rectify these two issues of volume. So in the first track, the problem that we have is that there is a region of audio which has a volume that needs to be corrected. It's not the whole track, it's just an area within the track. So to rectify this, we use the selection tool from the toolbox to select the area that we wish to work on. And we click Edit and Find Zero Crossings to make sure that our edit points are at 0. And I'm going to use one of the inbuilt tools in Audacity by clicking on the Effect menu and selecting the Amplify tool. Now, the Amplify tool allows you to change the volume or amplification of the selected audio region. Using the Amplify tool is often a process of trial and error, and it's generally best to make increments or decrements in steps of about 3 or 4 decibels, which is the measure of amplification in Audacity. Now, because we have quite a small audio region here, we want it to be relatively similar volume to the other areas within the track, I'm going to increase it to, let's say, 16 decibels. Now, one thing I can do is I can press preview and listen to the change in volume. Now, this is useful, but what we really want to do is listen to the change in volume alongside the rest of the audio on the track to make sure that it doesn't sound too out of place. So if I hit OK here, I can see straight away that actually this looks quite good. This region now looks a similar volume to the audio on the rest of the track. Again, like I said, this can often be a process of trial and error to get it right. But the main thing to do is to listen back to the whole track and to make sure that the adjustment sounds like it fits in with the rest of the audio. So that's how to correct the volume of a region of audio within a track. And you can use the Amplify tool to decrease the volume as well. If something's too loud, we can use it to decrease the volume, again in increments of 3 or 4 decibels, until you find an approximate level that sounds good. Now, the second technique we're going to look at is how to correct the volume of a whole track. Now, we could apply the same technique from before to do this by using the selection tool to select the whole of the track and using the Amplify tool to change the volume of the area we've selected. This is useful because we get to see the changes in the waveform. We can measure them against the height of the waveform on other audio tracks. A much more simpler way to do this, which also provides some future flexibility, is to use the volume slider in the track controls on the left-hand side. Here we have a slider which, if we move left, our gain, or again our volume, decreases, and if we move right, it increases, and again it uses values of dB or decibels. So when it's at 0, we're not making any changes in volume, and when we move it to the right, we're increasing the volume. Now, by using this slider, we're not increasing the height of our blue waveform, so it's difficult to actually see the volume increases. So therefore, it's important to use your ears to listen to the differences in volume, especially in comparison to the volume of other tracks. So when you're using the slider, you don't necessarily have to move up and down in increments of 3, but it's a good general rule to apply. So here I'm going to increase to 6, listen back to the audio, and see whether it's as loud as I want it to be or not. Now, another useful tip for editing and when applying volume changes, when you want to isolate the track that you're working on and just hear that one only, you can press the solo button in the track controls. By pressing the solo button, it means that only the track that's highlighted can be heard and all the others are muted.